I will admit I didn't actually finish playing the game. I need to do that at some point.
You
um,
need to finish playing a game?
What?
Story of my life, I guess. Um, but
I'm sorry, I am so mean to you today.
The
Forgive
ever-growing
me.
backlog.
きっと約束だよいつかまた同じ笑顔で
Hello, everybody. What's up? Welcome to another episode of Annie Chatbox. My name is Cammie. I'm hosting you today, and I'm joined with a full house. And starting off that full house, living in the really cool like loft attic, where there can be plenty of room for figure shelves and computers and such, is Jonathan Joestar.
Hello!
All right. And then let's see. On the upstairs, but not the attic floor, in a refashioned, full-blown master bedroom that she gets all to herself for comfy beds and all the fan art she could plaster on her walls, there is our dear Cassie.
Oh, hey. Oh, hey, fam.
Oh, yes. And downstairs, sharing a bunk bed with me, but he sleeps on the bottom, it is my best bro, Craig.
Hello, Internet. It's been a while. I hope you are well. Fun fact, while Cammie came up with the Full House analogy, I pulled up the lyrics to Full House. So, whatever happened to prescribability, the milkman, the paperboy, evening TV?
Evening TV! Oh God. Yep. That's what we watch together in our bunk bed, where I've got all of the beautiful BL fan art, and Craig's got his magical girls, and I'm on the top bunk. But yes, putting that aside, welcome again to our humble little small box. And let me also just drop that if you want to listen to more of us, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn, and SoundCloud. If you want to chat us up, find us at twitter.com/theanniechatbox or email us at anniechatmail@gmail.com. And of course, if you want to donate, maybe make our full house / what is actually a cardboard box a little bigger, check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/anniechatbox. All right, with that out of the way, if you've been paying attention recently, we are on the final tail end of our winter 2018 seasonal splash tank. So, that being said, starting us off with the last of our splash tank, I'm going to talk to you about Koi wa Ameagari no Yoni, or Love is Like After the Rain. Or if you're looking on Amazon Prime where it is streaming, look up After the Rain, because I struggled with that for tracking down the first episode. Okay, so Koi wa Ameagari no Yoni is animated by Wit Studio, who you may also recognize from doing Attack on Titan and The Ancient Magus Bride. And the synopsis for it goes as such. Akira Tachibana is a soft-spoken high school student who used to be part of the track and field club, but due to an injury, she is no longer able to run as fast as she once could. Working part-time at a family restaurant as a recourse, she finds herself inexplicably falling in love with her manager, a divorced 45-year-old man with a young son. Despite the age gap, Akira wholeheartedly embraces his mannerisms and kind nature, which is seen as spinelessness by other employees. And little by little, the two begin to understand each other. Although unable to explain exactly why she is attracted to him, Akira believes that a concrete reason is not needed to truly love someone. On a rainy day, she decides to tell her manager how she feels, but how will he react? Okay, so I was pretty excited about this show, so I decided to save the kind of my most anticipated show for last to give impressions on. I'm honestly always a little bit interested in seeing respectable portrayals of this topic. Like, for me personally, I get bothered by like incest narratives a lot. Some people can do it. I can do the age gap and see if there is an interesting way to explore it. And this show, I think, honestly, relatively for the most part, I think it's handling the subject matter very well. I will say that two things. I think that if you are really, really, really bothered by this sort of potential and cannot really separate that you are watching a show that is fiction from like the way that this situation in reality makes you feel, it might not be something to watch. Because I think that it is important with this show and just the way that it's treated. Sometimes I do step back and I'm like, okay, it's an anime. Like it's an anime. This is a fictional universe. Like this is what's going on. And I'm not even particularly bothered by the subject matter. And I think it portrays it nicely. But like if this is really something that bothers you, then and you can't like separate that, probably not a show for you to check out. The other thing I think I could say is that the tone of the show sets itself by episode 1. So if you want to check out episode 1 and you find you're not liking it, then yeah, it could just not be your thing. This is also a Noi Tamina block show, so it goes right into things that I really like, which is tends to be well-written characters, a mature perspective on its storyline, and is like very soft visually and just kind of in tone. So I was really, really excited for this show. The artwork is gorgeous. It's very reminiscent of 80s shoujo manga, distinctly in the eyes of our main character. And I think that the art also is very, it's unique enough for each character that they kind of pop and have their own personality. And what were some other things that I thought of? I like that the show, like, it has kind of nuanced storytelling. It doesn't directly hide anything from you, but it's addressed in really quiet moments, and just little bits of imagery that you see.
Mhm.
And then, it's not everything is by dialogue. Honestly, I think this is kind of a quiet show that really focuses on the atmospheric moments more so than directly a lot of dialogue, which is nice. And it leaves me kind of eager for more, to see what's going on. And I like the main characters a whole lot. I like the dynamic that they have. Personally, for me, I don't find the dynamic creepy. By 3 episodes, there's more that can be explored in like further episodes. But I think that the show tackles its subject matter really nicely,
Mhm.
and it's just kind of a refreshing, unique story. So I'm absolutely swimming it for us because it's really good.
Nice.
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 Yep. Cassie, I know you've watched a little bit of it. If there was anything you wanted to throw in, you could.
Not really. I think that you made a really good point. Although I think that if anybody goes into this show after reading the synopsis and gets offended, then that's mostly their problem due to the fact they don't hide from you what the show is about.
Mm.
Yeah, very true.
If you read the synopsis and you're like, wow, this doesn't sound like something I would like, and then you decide to watch it anyway, then that's one of the things I like about the show is you get what you came for. They don't prattle around the issue, which is something I think that the Noi Tamina block is actually really famous for, is that they tackle heavy subjects without really, I guess, dragging their feet. Another Noi Tamina block show that happened recently was Scum's Wish. And it tackled some things that made people uncomfortable as well. So it's a mature show, and you need to keep that in mind. Despite what it looks like, despite how poppy and shoujo-esque it is a very adult story. Although one thing that you didn't touch on that I really want you to talk about is how freaking amazing the opening is.
The opening is so good.
For this show.
I do think it's funny because I feel like it's not tonally different from the show, but I feel like it's literally everything that goes on in Akira's head, sort of like it's her little dream world, which and it's just so vibrant and poppy and cute, and there are alpacas, guys. Like, if you don't watch the show, go watch the opening. It's the cutest thing in the entire world.
It is very, very adorable, and it's just like you said, it's almost like a fantasy. It's her little happiness. It's her little happiness opening. And one of the things that I like also is how many different sides of this character that you see. 'Cause when you first meet this main character, you may think, oh, she's your typical stoic heroine. And you realize that she's just an awkward teenage girl who has awkward teenage girl moments. And her moments of happiness are some of the best of the show. I love when she jumps around all giddily.
Yes. And on that same vein, actually, I like that the manager that she has a crush on, like, he's not some, I think it's so easy to like do something like have a teacher that's like really attractive and stuff, than like in certain shows. But like Kondo is a 45-year-old man, like a 45-year-old single father. Like he seems very human and not like idealized or made specifically to be like a creep or in the situation. Like he's just a person, just like she is, and I like that a lot.
A very awkward person too. He's not
well, exactly. He's such a dad. which is legit though, because I mean, like that just adds to kind of the earnesty, like with her crush on him, because he's not like just some perfect older guy. Like he really isn't. So yeah, I'm excited for us to watch that.
I'm excited to talk about it too, especially because one other thing that I think would encourage people to watch the show is that it's not only from the young lady's perspective. It's also from the gentleman's perspective as well. And also what problems he might have with, even considering dating somebody who's not only younger than him, but also somebody who is directly under him at work. But those aren't necessarily the main issues in his head. And I think that that's very interesting. His psychology is very interesting. And so is hers, but I think his is way more interesting.
Oh, God. Every time we get in his head with an internal monologue, I'm just, like, overjoyed. It's so good.
Yeah. So I'm excited to talk about this with, if not just you, hopefully maybe the boys will check it out too. But this is definitely something that I'm excited to talk about.
Yes. All right. And then moving us right along, Craig, would you like to present your last impression?
Speaking of things that Cass is also hyped to talk about. I'm gonna rely on her to bounce off of this impression with. Hugtto Precure. This show was produced and brought to you by Toei Animation. What they've done, if you haven't known what they've done, then you aren't a 90s kid. One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, and Sailor Moon. Fun fact, I've been watching Sailor Moon, and I'm currently in Sailor Moon R, but that's besides the point. It falls within the line of magical girls and the deep, deep hell that I've fallen into. The show goes as such. You can do anything. You can become anything. Embrace the sparkling future. Fure, fure, watashi. Fure, fure, mina. Synopsis goes as such. Hana Nano is an 8th grade student who wants to be a stylish, immature One-san-like figure. She always puts on a lovely smile and loves to search for exciting things. One day, Hana meets a baby named Hugtto and her guardian fairy named Harry the hamster. Fun fact, I nicknamed this guy Hamtaro instead of Harry. We'll get into that when I talk further about the episodes. Who has fallen from the sky. At that exact moment, an evil organization called Dark Tomorrow suddenly appeared. They're trying to forcefully take Hugton's Mirai Crystal, aka Future Crystal, in order to protect Hugton. Hana wishes to do something to help her, and her wish is granted as she gains a Mirai Crystal of her own and transforms into Kiryell. The world is overflowed with tomorrow power, which is the power to create a brilliant tomorrow with a crystallized into the Mirai crystals. If it is stolen, everyone's future will not exist. To protect Hugton and everyone's future, Kiryell will do her best. Otherwise, that or Kiryell. It's funny that every time I hear it, I hear L. So why did She gets it. So why did I choose this show? If you missed the initial reveal, then where we got our picks, I said I was pretty interested in the show because it's magical girl hell that I've fallen into, and I've really gotten into Precure over the last year or so, and this is the 15th season. 15 years of Precure going strong, much like the Kamen Rider, and much like the Super Sentai before it. On Saturday mornings, they run blocks of programming for young boys and young girls. So then, Why did I choose it outside of that? Well, it looked cute. I like the character designs. Cass really likes the baby. Don't you like the baby, Cass?
I really love Cure L, and I love Hana Nono. I think she's a perfect angel.
Yeah.
I think Hugton's fine. I don't know why everybody hates on the baby so much. I like Hugton. I think she's cute. She's a baby. But I love all the other characters.
Here's the thing. While I was cautiously optimistic, I found myself within the first 3 episodes not really put off by the baby. And the fact that it's a baby and it's just kind of there as a MacGuffin or a Deus Ex Machina, in the sense that it's like, oh hey, by the way, it's going to essentially provide you the powers to save the world, and it may essentially probably save the world in the end, or it may inevitably become a Precure if it grows big and strong. Outside of Hangtan and her cute pink-haired mom, we also have the cute blue-haired girl, Saya. She's Cure Ange, and she's introduced in episode 2. Saya and Hana are the cutest of girlfriends. It's so gay, guys. This show is so gay. And they're so cute together. Like, holy shit, man. And then in episode 3, we get little sprinklings of the Cure Etoile, the yellow-haired girl, who we find out more of later down the line. Homore, yeah, is her real name. Cure Etoile is her Precure name. I always struggled to get her name until the 4th episode. Regardless, it's fun. Suffice it to say, my trepidation and going into it, I actually think that it's pretty fun, and I say it swims. Now, that being said, me and Suki are watching this solo, Cass and her boyfriend are watching this solo, so this ought to be an interesting thing to reconvene back in a year in order to see if this show fucking, no pun intended, shit the bed.
I see.
Like, I don't know what else to really say on it. I like the villains organization way more than the previous year's season, Kira Kira Precure a la mode. They are what Cammy would call so extra.
Yes!
The Dark Tomorrow King organization. They're literally a business dedicated to robbing the world of its future, just like corporate America, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, and the character designs are cute, and Harry is a hamster. He's got a mullet, and he can transform into a red-headed, beachy hot guy with shiny pants, so I just call him Hamtaro. He owns a salon,
Wow.
guys. It's wild. It's wild.
It sounds wild, which is fun.
It's great. It reminds me of all the things that I really love about magical girl shows. And one thing I also love is there's a lot of punching.
Yes. Unlike the previous season, Kira Kira, they just use their magic wands to solve everything. This one gets right up in front of the villains and beats the living crap out of it. The themes, obviously, in this year around is heroism, parenting, and jobs. The heroism and the parenting more so as of yet, rather than the focus on the jobs and their overall dreams. But hey, strap in, kids. We're here for another 49 to 50 episodes, so we'll probably get what their futures are in due time.
Maybe we can have a little special episode at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Maybe we can even drag Suki and maybe I can convince Dominic to come on. That'd be fun.
That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I can beg.
Get all the sparkling magical people.
Yeah. So
This is my
All
favorite Precure. I mean, I haven't watched many other, and I actually haven't watched any other ones other than Go Pre, and I haven't finished it, but I love Hugtto Precure.
you really do. Like, what sets this apart from Go Pre? Because now I've watched like 4 Precure, and
Whoa! For one, I actually really love Hana. Hana's great.
Hana sells it for you.
Like from the first 2 minutes of the show, she was really funny and cute. The show episode 1 opens with her cutting her bangs off.
It's so weird because
Cutting them way too short because she wanted to look great for school and she wanted to look like a dignified young lady and she fucked it up.
Yep.
Like, that's hilariously adorable.
It's funny, too, because, like, before and after, I like her with long bangs, and I liked her with her cut bangs that she did herself.
Listen, it's not even just that. Like, the first episode, the first half of the show is literally, the girl cuts her hair too short. She's late to school because she wanted to help an old woman cross the street.
Yep.
And then she face plants into the classroom after she's already late.
Yep.
And she still is like, my name is Hananono, and I'm gonna be a wonderful, dignified lady. And then fails. It's just, she's such a disaster. I love her.
Aww.
And she just wants everybody to be, like, happy, and she wants to root for everyone. And she's also incredibly selfish sometimes, but in the best way. I don't know. I just love her. And she kicks ass as Kiryu. I don't know.
That's really endearing.
And she's so good with her girlfriend.
Girlfriends?
Oh, I am so sorry. She does have the biggest crush on Homare.
Yeah, she's obviously got the hots for that chick.
Oh, but she's so cool, though. Who wouldn't blame her? Probably
helps that one of the characters looks like the love child of Kurapika.
Yeah, with legs for days. She gives Sailor Jupiter a run for her money.
Yeah. But anyway, the show's just very cute. It's very endearing. I love it. And I've been getting a lot more into, I don't know, things that just make me happy recently, which is great considering most of the stuff I watch is just
dark and depressing.
Sad, dark, depressing. And honestly, like with the trend recently and most magical girl shows that are coming out being Madoka Magica ripoffs.
Yeah. Edgelord.
It's nice to just enjoy what I loved about magical girls in the first. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved Madoka Magica.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite shows. Yeah. But everybody trying to be a Madoka Magica,
they're trying to ride the coattails.
It's ruining everything. It's not why I loved magical girls in the first place.
Oh, for sure, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But this has been running long, so.
Speaking though of dark and I don't know how depressing, but dark shit. You are up next, Cassie, to bring us your last impression.
I will be talking about Kokkoku, which is pretty interesting, I have to say. But before I say why it's interesting, I guess I should give you the synopsis. And the synopsis is as such. Having failed 19 job interviews in one day, Juri Yukawa's dreams of moving out of her parents' home are utterly dashed. Stuck living with her working mother Nobuko, neat brother Tsubasa, laid-off father Takafumi, and single-parent sister Sanae, the only hope for this family to raise a decent adult is her little nephew Makoto. However, the struggling family's life takes a turn for the worse when Makoto and Tsubasa are violently kidnapped by a mysterious organization and held for ransom. With only 30 minutes to deliver 5 million yen to criminals, Juri's grandfather reveals a dangerously powerful secret to her and Takafumi. By offering blood to her grandfather's mystical stone, the three enter the world of stasis, a version of their world where time stops for everyone but the users. Having arrived at their destination, their rescue efforts go awry when they are assailed by a surprising group of people who are somehow also able to move around within stasis. With all hope seeming lost, a monstrous giant known only as the Herald appears amidst the chaos, its intent and motivations as cryptic as the very nature of this timeless world. So, big synopsis short, young nephew and brother of main character girl get kidnapped, and they go to try and save them thinking, oh, hey, we can stop time, which, by the way, it's not just immediately accepted. They're kind of shocked as well. But the young lady Juri and her father, in addition to their grandfather, try and go and save this little boy and this young adult man, thinking, oh, we can walk in, we can get them, and we can leave. Doesn't happen that way. So the thing that I really love about the show is I'm only 3 episodes in, but the entirety of the synopsis is still going on by episode 3. They're not rushing to get to a conclusion. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I love about that is that means they're spending more time in the world of stasis. So in a lot of other shows like this, you'll, of course, go into this mysterious world, they'll solve the problem by at the end of episode 1 or beginning of episode 2, and then everything else will be basically multiple different trips into that world. That's how shows like this normally work. That's not how this is working. We're in episode 3 and they still haven't saved the kidnapped people yet. They're trying very hard to, and now you've got multiple different entities running around in this world where everybody else is basically frozen. And the thing that I also love about this show is that there are rules within this world. And it's continuously building on those rules and building on what's going on in that world as the show is going on. And if there's one thing that I have a boner for, or a lady boner for, it is world building. And, because that's why I love Made in Abyss. And that's basically what the show is all about. It's about Juri, figuring out what's going on in this world that she doesn't understand, along with her grandfather for the most part. Spoilers, the dad basically gets kidnapped in episode 1. So then you got 3 kidnapped people and just Juri and her grandfather trying to figure out what the hell to do. And they're going up against very dangerous people. These people have no problem with killing people. They have no problem with trying to kill them. There's a pretty violent strangling scene that happens, I believe, at the end of episode 2. There's even mention. It's a pretty dark show. There are mentions of trying to rape her. That doesn't actually happen. But you're in a room, or not in a room. You're in a world where there's almost no consequences, and that makes people be a little bit insane. There's actually a scene where a couple of the guys that are in there are robbing it looks like a convenience store. And one of the guys is like looking through all of like the porn magazines they have there, and they're like, "Oh, hey, why would you do that when you can just, see the real thing?" And they like pull down a random girl who can't move's underwear, basically. So it's very mature. And if stuff like that bothers you, I wouldn't necessarily check it out, but this isn't as violent or horrible as something like, I don't know, Devilman Crybaby or
Inuyashiki also?
Or Inuyashiki. It's not nearly that violent. However, there are some pretty violent scenes, and it's definitely mature. So I would definitely try and watch the first episode and see if that bothers you. There is a scene where a guy's head gets basically squeezed off.
Ooh.
It's kind of off camera, but it's definitely there. So I would keep that. Yeah, it's pretty intense, but I do love what's going on here. The other thing that I really like is that the art style reminds me a lot of like Paranoia Agent esque kind of stuff, more grungy, more different and down to earth, which is pretty cool because the studio that's doing this is Geno Studio, which other than Kokkoku has done basically next to nothing.
Oh man.
They've done Golden Kamui, which is also airing this season, I guess. And then the only other thing they've done is Gyakusatsu Kikan, which was a movie. Which currently has like a 7 on my anime list, which ain't bad. But long story short, I think that Kokkoku is very interesting. And I think it has the possibility of being one of the better shows of the season. Especially because we have a lot of slice of life stuff to move through. So this might be something that could, set apart right up there with Devilman Crybaby. And I think it might be easier to tolerate than Devilman Crybaby if some of us pop off of that one. So with that being said, I definitely am probably going to swim it. That way we can also just, listen to the opening on repeat because it's also freaking fantastic.
Yes.
It's good. The show got a lot of style, and I can appreciate that. It also makes use of something that I both love and hate in anime, and that's cliffhangers. Each episode so far has ended on a cliffhanger. Like episode 3 ended with somebody almost getting stabbed in the throat and then just ended, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? So that'll definitely be interesting.
That's awesome. I will say too, like, I'm glad to hear that it's basically slightly less hard to take than Devilman or Inuyashiki, because I have been itching for kind of a more like dark story, and this one intrigued me, and I think that it's definitely one that I'm excited to give a check out. So
yeah, it's got violence, but I wouldn't say it's gratuitous.
That's cool.
And if there is something that's very bloody or hard to take, it's almost off screen, if that makes sense. So it's definitely something that I believe deserves some attention.
Awesome. That being said, then, John, you are the last one up to bat.
Uma.
Yes.
Yes. So my last series to put in the splash tank is Fate Extra Last Encore. Which is it's another Fate series. This one's based on the PSP game of the same name, or Fate Extra rather. And the synopsis goes: waking up in a strange world, in a strange virtual world with no recollection of the past, Hakuno finds himself forced to fight for survival in a war he does not understand for a prize beyond value, the opportunity to have one's wish granted. With only an enigmatic servant by his side, Haruno Kishinami will have to face both friends and foes in battles to the death in order to not only gain possession of a mysterious object known as the Holy Grail, but also to find the answer to the most important question of all: who am I? It's animated by Studio Shaft, who we all know very well. They are behind the Monogatari series, the previously mentioned Madoka, and what else? Something a bit older.
March comes in like a lion.
Did
March comes in like a lion. March comes in
March
like
comes
a
in like a lion.
Oh, Munch comes in like a lion. Yeah, that was there too.
Nisekoi.
Yeah, they've done a lot.
Yep.
John, I have a question before you go into your impression. How many head tilts have there been in the first 3 episodes?
Ooh.
How much stained glass?
Actually, not many.
Has there been at least one?
There have been head tilts.
Nice.
I was about to say, don't you fucking lie to me.
There have been head tilts. There have been like slight ones. The most dramatic and like that was a shaft head tilt came from Rin so far.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, anyone who's seen the original Fate Stay Night or Unlimited Blade Works, you'll see a lot of familiar faces here, going by the same names. They're technically not the same characters.
Mm-hmm.
It is a virtual world. These are like avatars based on the Fuyuki Holy Grail War. So you've got Mato Shinji, you've got Rin Tozuka, you've got Sakura, you got a number of familiar looking faces, but technically, while they have very similar personalities, they're not exactly the same. But our main character summons a red lady in a dress, a rather revealing dress, who is a Saber class servant.
She's my favorite Saber face.
And she is a Saber face, which means she has the same look on her face as as the first Saber. But yeah, while this is based on the original Fate Extra game on the PSP, they are taking a number of liberties with the story. So even if you've played the original game, it's not following the same. I was actually surprised by some of the things that have happened. The whole scenario of the quote-unquote first floor is completely different. And it also changes the scenery a bit, because in the game you spend pretty much the entire time in a school.
How is Nero? I'm sorry, that's like my entire bias. How is she enjoyable?
Nero is super enjoyable. And
awesome.
She's exactly how I was expecting her to behave. Based on my experience with her in the PSP game, and the the other games that I've played. So, that being said, it's not completely perfect. The animation, while every frame is like a gorgeous painting, the actual fluidity of the animation, I can't help but feel like, Shaft, I know you can do better than this.
Really?
I have to weigh in with you on that. I watched the first episode and there was some janky running like in there, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?"
there are some moments with jank, and like it seems like they've opted not to do any sort of like motion blur on the movements, so like you can pause it at any moment and see a perfect image, but that doesn't necessarily flow as an animation very well. So like you see her swing a sword, and it's like and while the swing only takes 3 frames, therefore you've got 1 frame where the sword is pointing behind her, 1 frame where it's to the side, and 1 to the front. And yeah, this isn't unlimited budget works or anything like that. But that being said, it is still pretty. It's just you've got to put up with a little bit of janky animations here and there. And while I did feel a need to bring it up, I don't feel it's that much of a detriment that I'm going to fail it based on just that. I've heard some people complaining because they've taken liberties with the story, but I'm actually kind of happy that they've decided to take liberties with it. Because again, as someone who has played the game, it means that it is still something fresh and new, just familiar enough. They are still, admittedly slightly loosely following the same overarching story. And I will admit, I didn't actually finish playing the game. I need to do that at some point.
You need to finish playing a game?
What?
Story of my life, I guess. But
I'm sorry, I am so mean to you today.
The ever-growing backlog.
Yeah, it's like me needing to finish anime. I've got games that I've started playing and never finished. I've been working on it, but yeah. Anywho, yeah. I am still really enjoying this series. Nero's wonderful. The main character isn't completely hopeless and isn't completely stupid either. Looking at you, Shiro.
Oh god, yes.
But yeah, it is still a really enjoyable series so far. I have stopped myself from watching anything beyond episode 3, because that's something I do to myself. We base these on just 3 episodes, it was supposed to be, so I don't let myself get influenced by later episodes until after I've given my impression on it. So there we go. I will definitely continue to watch this, and I say that this swims. Emma!
That's wonderful to hear. I'm excited. Just off of, if you know, do you know how long it's slated to be? Is it like 12 or 13 episodes,
I just looked that up and I can't find anything on Mal.
Oh, okay. Just curious, because it'd be interesting if they shoved an entire game plot into 12 episodes. So we'll see, I suppose. That's pretty cool. While our hosts were talking and giving some impressions, I did my best to compile a list of everything that we have swam for the winter season. So, obviously, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, but for those of you listening, we have passed Yuru Camp, Koi wa Ameagari no Yoni, Card Captor Sakura, the Clear Card Arc, Karakai Jozu Takagi-san, Kokkoku, Darling in the Franxx, Devilman Crybaby, Hugtto Precure, Death March to a Parallel World Rhapsody, and Fate Extra Last Encore. So
how many is that total?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10
It's
shows.
not bad.
Yeah. I think that it will be balanced out because, as Cassie mentioned earlier, it was probably a good thing that we were a little harsher this season just to catch up and not have such a long backlog. So you can look forward to those in the future. And before I play us out, was there anything else that needed to be said or announced?
Not in particular. I think that we're just going to go ahead and get back to things and get back to business as usual next week. Actually get some reviews in because it's been a hot minute, and we'll see what we can do about getting that content to everybody. That'll be great.
Yes, absolutely. So yet again, we want to thank you for tuning in, and we hope that you are just as hyped for the winter 2018 season as we are. All right, take care, everybody.
Oyasumi.
Bye-bye.
Umu!
Umu!